Hello, everyone, and welcome to your favorite podcast. Today's episode will be part 1 of a history book review. Before there was unity, there was discrimination. Discrimination is a very complex topic in the history of the United States. This issue hits on pretty much everyone, from gender discrimination to racial discrimination. Throughout the years, as different ethnicities arrived to the United States, they were all treated very poorly. From Asians to blacks to Latinos, everyone felt like they did not belong and their lives were extremely difficult. One of the most important and unique events in history that involves the experience of minorities was the Great Migration, where black citizens migrated from the South to the North and West. They were forced to move out of the South due to how they were treated, while the North and West have a better response to treating the blacks. To examine this issue in depth, the non-fictional book The Warmth of Other Suns, the epic story of America's Great Migration by Isabel Wilkserson in 2010, features 3 prominent figures that went through the Great Migration. This piece effectively describes the lives of the blacks during the era of the Great Migration by how descriptive the author is at explaining the lives of the characters and different events happening, specifically the use of the person George Swanson Starling in his life and how a reader should interpret while reading the book. The book effectively represents the life of the black citizens during the Great Migration, as the author Isabel Wilkserson uses descriptive words to explain the characters and certain events. One strong example from the book is mentioning what the Great Migration is, as they fled as if under a spell or a high fever. In quotations, they left as though they were fleeing some curse, wrote the scholar Emmett J. Scott. From Scott's quote that Wilkerson is quoting also mentions that to obtain a railroad ticket and stay where they were heading takes almost any sacrifice. By integrating this quote, Wilkerson is strongly comparing the life of black citizens migrating to any citizen trying not to get cursed. As a matter of fact, readers with the simple basic knowledge knows how disease affects a certain person because of all the pandemics that have happened, with the most recent one being SARS-CoV-2, better known as COVID-19. Knowing this, the reader can very well understand what it's like to migrate for blacks during the Great Migration. As much as a person wants to run away to not get infected by some sort of disease, the black citizens want to run away so they can avoid the unreasonable treatment from the Southern whites. Another great example, Wilkerson is very descriptive with her explanation, is with one of the 3 main characters in the book. One female character named Ida May. Ida May is the oldest of the 3 characters, but Wilkerson starts everyone's story when they were all young. The idea of segregation was noticed by Ida May at one point when she realized that everything and everywhere white people were separated from her. Even though white people were everywhere around her, they were separated from her at various places, including the schoolhouse, land, and sidewalk. There's also the fact that, in quotations, colored people had to step off the curb when they passed a white person in town, and if the Mennonist privilege could be imagined, the ruling class claimed it. Through Ida May, Wilkerson clearly describes the segregation between the whites and blacks during the time, how no single black can cross the line into the territory of the white, and when one does do so, huge punishment like getting hanged is possible. With this detail, readers can understand the struggle blacks had to go through back then, but also the fact that sometimes it is something so often that black themselves do not realize until it actually affects their own life. Through these extremely detailed descriptions that Isabel Wilkerson uses to describe every character's life, including events that happened throughout history, as one way this book is truly effective and significant. Thank you for listening today. Make sure to tune in to next week's episode, but also to tune in to the next part of this series, which would be a different episode than next week. As I've mentioned before, every week I cover different topics, switching back and forth between history, music, and life. So I won't have 2 history episodes back to back, but the next time I do a history episode will be the second part of this book review on Warmth of Other Suns by Isabel Wilkserson. Once again, thank you for listening, and have a good rest of your week.